Forgot the B part. One more. Alright. Hey everybody, welcome to MandoLessons Live. I am your host, Baron Collins Hill. Hope you're all doing well. Got tons of folks in the chat here already. Great to see everyone. Let us know where you're coming in from if you so choose. Let me know if this is your first time here. It's always great to see new faces and of course to see all the regulars. Got Peter and Connie and Melanie and Dale and Jim and Tom and Ray was here, and Robert, Geroyd, Donald, Sheldon, Lewis, Andrew, Gene, Croc 4x4, Uncle Bobby, G-Ma Peppy. Great to see you all. Marion, Alan, Dennis, James, Betsy, Denise, CJ, Rusk. Great to see you all here. So, that tune I just played there is the jam tune of the day. It's called A Road to Lisdoon Varna. It's a slide. It's an Irish slide, and we already actually had a question about that. I saw, what was it from? Donald asked, do you use the same pick directions for 12/8 as you do for 6/8? I do, yep, it's the same kind of jig pattern. Down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. Same kind of jig pattern. Great question. The way that these work, if you're new here, is it's pretty wide open. Ask questions. Whatever you're working on. I love hearing what people are up to. No questions are too advanced or too simple or anything like that. It's totally wide open. Love hearing from everybody. The more the merrier. I'm happy to do tune requests as long as they are in the public domain and I know how to play them, which is not all the time, especially in live streams. My tune recall is not its finest, but I'm always happy to try. I was having a little trouble with Road to Lisdoon Varna there. Right before I started, I was trying to get it down an octave on this low string. I've got a low C string on a 10 string. And that kind of threw me off. I was figured I'd try it live, even though I just worked on it for the first time, and it definitely threw me for a loop. But great to see you all here. So yeah, Road to Lisdoon Varna is the jam tune of the day. Hope you're all having a great Saturday, wherever and whenever in Saturday you are. I'm coming to you from Oregon, so it's 10 a.m. Got all sorts of folks from all over the world. Great to see you all. Alright, dance tune, good to see you here. Alright, well, no questions so far, which is a little unusual, so don't be bashful. Throw them out there. Maybe I'll play another tune. Oh, here we go. I made my first inquiries about commissioning an instrument today. Any advice for commissioning an instrument? I've never done it. I'm thinking about it, but I have not done it. I've always bought instruments either used or a few times. Most of the instruments I've bought have been used, but occasionally I buy a new instrument, usually just from like a shop. Often the Music Emporium, who I'm not affiliated with, but they tend to get stuff in that I really like. But I look forward to hearing what you're thinking about commissioning. That's exciting. Ray was here asked, what's your opinion on 5-course mandolins? I mean, they're definitely uncommon. I'd played a couple before I got this one. This is a 5, so for folks that are new to these instruments, this is a 5-course, 10-string total mandolin or mandola, call it what you like, built by Lawrence Smart in Idaho. So it's got the regular G, D, A, and E strings, but it also has this low C string like a mandola. So these 4 are C, G, D, A, and then these 4 are G, D, A, E. So it's a little of both. It takes some getting used to, you know, it's a slightly different sound. I'm really impressed with how this mandolin, or mandola, this instrument, really, it sounds like a mandolin. You know, I can still, it's got a good chop to it. But it also has a nice strong low C string. So it's been fun getting used to it. It's really great. I love, you know, a lot of instruments that I play, I love that kind of low register. That's why I love playing tenor guitar and octave mandolin and electric instruments. And I play a button accordion that goes a little extra low. It's kind of one of the things that I look for in an instrument is how low. You know, I think after playing mandolin for 20 years, I was really familiar with this G to this B, and now I'm just looking for other instruments that have a slightly different kind of pitch range. That's always fun. So I like them. They're not super common, but if you can find one and try it out and like it, by all means. They're super fun. I think the big thing for me is having a longer scale length. So this is mandola scale length across the board. So it's 16 inches nut to bridge, and some people do it that way. Some people will do fanned frets, so the frets are kind of off kilter. They kind of go like this across the instrument, and then the bridge is all tipped and the nut's all tipped, and it looks real trippy, but it actually isn't as hard to play as it looks like it might be. But anything you can do to kind of make a longer scale for that C is really going to help it play nice and sound good and not be floppy. All right, let's see. Continuing on here. Working on the Countess Kathleen from the Riverdance soundtrack and Sergeant Early's Dream. And a hymn set for Easter week. Very cool. Yeah, I don't know the Countess Kathleen. I'm not super well versed in the Riverdance stuff. I've seen it a couple times as a kid, but I've never really dug in to that. It's certainly a classic, and I love Sergeant Early's Dream. Love that tune. That was actually a tune that was requested. I had never heard of it, but a Patreon member suggested I make a lesson on that tune. I had never heard it, and I looked it up, and as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, that is a great tune. So glad you're working on that one, Andy. Jordan from Cornwall, UK with a brand new mandolin. Very cool, Keith. Congratulations, and welcome to a wonderful new hobby. It's always fun to hear people just getting into it. There's a lot of... Yeah, Sasha says, can I suggest you play anything? Yeah, you're welcome to make requests. I can't promise I'll know how they go, but I'll give it a shot. Especially if it's in the public domain. So, no songs that would have copyright issues. But that's great to see, folks. Like I said, if you're new here, just got a mandolin, or this is your first time in the chat, please pipe up. It's great to see new faces. Nice. Keith says, buying a custom-made instrument is the most amazing experience I've ever had. That's very cool. Just got a new stick dulcimer. Very cool. The Seagull. They make some cool stuff. in addition to the lower mandolin. Very fun. Anyone ever told you you look and sound like Seth Rogen? I get that occasionally, not super regularly, but I can see it. What is the thickness of my pick? This pick is 1.5 millimeters. Big triangle, that's sort of my preference. 1.5 big triangle, yeah. This is a Dunlop Prime Tone. I like them. It's kind of blue chip style, but they don't have blue chip prices. Some people can tell the difference. I got nothing against blue chips. I used them for years, but I just can't tell the difference, so. What is your most prized instrument? I would say, if I had to pick one instrument, it's hard to pick favorites, but this mandolin here has been with me for more than 10 years. The Ellis, the one you see every day on my lessons, and it's real special to me. I'd say that's the one, but I really love them all. Coleman's March sounds good on the Merlin. Yeah, Dulcimer and Coleman's Mulch. Coleman's Mulch. Coleman's March is a great combination. Hey, Chip from Oklahoma. Good to have you here. Ottawa. Very cool. Where do we find out what the next jam tune is in advance? So if you go to my website, MandoLessons.com, you click the little green live Q&A button and scroll down. There's a little episode guide. And in that episode guide that Denise puts together, very grateful for all the stuff that Denise does, you can find the upcoming thing. It's just a Google Doc, and you can probably save it. I'm not super familiar with how that works, but I imagine you can save it to your own Google Drive if you're a Google Drive user, or put it in your bookmarks so you can get back to it quick. Yep, Lewis nailed it on the Ellis. Is that bowlback mandolin working? And if so, can I play it? Yes, I can. I'd be happy to. I have a little lesson. One of my videos in the last couple months was comparing a bunch of different mandolins, F-style oval hole, or F-style F-hole, or A-style F-hole, F-style oval hole, A-style oval hole, and this bowlback mandolin. I don't know how in tune it is, but it is in great working condition. Wish I knew how to hold it better, but yeah. So this is a Vega bowlback mandolin from around 1900, and I love it. It's a beautiful sound. Bowlbacks are very cool instruments. They weren't really built to hold up as long as they have, so a lot of them are in a fair amount of disrepair. But I lucked into this one, and I really like it. And it sounds like this. Bit of whatever that tune is. Can't remember the name off the top of my head. It's a classic. St. Anne's Reel? Is that St. Anne's Reel, or is that something else? Anyway, there's a little taste of the old bowlback. Dan says adding a Weber to the herd. Very cool. Those are great mandolins. Oh, cool. Yeah. So James is commissioning because they're hard to find in the UK. Absolutely. Do you have the tab for this tune today, I assume? Yes, if you go to my website and look up the name, you can just search the name of the tune, and the tune is, I can't remember. The Road to Lisdoon Varna. You can just look up Road, and it'll be one of the things that pops up. or Lisdoonvarna is Lisdoonvarna. Woo, that's a mouthful. Are there any ways to relax a tense pick grip? Absolutely. I get cramps often in my fingers. Yeah, it's definitely an important thing to work on. So, pick grip. I would say go back and watch the beginners series on my website if you haven't. I have a lot of things on technique in there, and then also just the technique and fundamentals section. I've got some right hand exercises. You know, keeping nice and loose in your right hand is really important, and it's very natural to want to really like clamp down on the pick so you don't drop it. What I always say is if you drop your pick, you get 10 extra points if you're picking with me, because it means you're holding it nice and loose and you don't have that kind of death grip on the pick that ends up giving you hand cramps. It makes the music sound tense, kind of everything suffers. But it is a natural reaction to like, I gotta hold on to this thing or else I can't play. But as loose as you can be, you know, I think a great way to practice that is just like, I think one thing that's really helpful that I should probably make a lesson about this, but it doesn't have to do with having the mandolin on you at all. Just like whatever pick you have a couple in your pocket, or just like the one you have if you don't have multiple. Just have it in your pocket, put it in your hand, and just use it, like just fiddle with it. You know, you just spend time holding it, and that will kind of disconnect you from that feeling of like, okay, I've got a mandolin and I've got a pick and I got to put them together and I'm going to tense up to do it. I often have way too many picks in my, I mean, I'm just surrounded by picks all the time. But you know, I often have a pick in my hand. I do stuff and I just like slip it between my fingers, kind of magician style, just kind of fiddle around with it. And it just becomes a thing that you hold on to, and by just spending time kind of absent-mindedly having it in your hand, you disconnect that feeling of like, okay, I've got this thing in my hand and I need to make it hit the string, so I'm going to play really hard. Just like have it in your hand. You go, whoop, dropped it. Oh well, pick it up. You're not playing, so it doesn't matter. Same thing with actually like the mandolin. Don't drop the mandolin, but just like having the mandolin around and disconnecting yourself from the instrument. Like for a long time, I would like pick up a mandolin and pick up a pick and just get like kind of laser focused and a little bit not stressed out, but just like really like engaged in like, okay, it's time to play. And it would like, I would get so focused on that my technique would suffer, and I'd like get hyper focused on the instrument and tense up in all different ways. But just like pick up the mandolin with no intention to play it. Just like look at it. I mean, they're beautiful instruments. Just pick it up and take a look at it. Like just kind of hold it in ways you don't normally. And you know, it just becomes something that you're a little more comfortable like holding on to and having in your hands versus only having the connection be like, okay, it's in my hands, I gotta play, it's gonna do this. Just like hold on to it and don't feel like you need to play, and that'll just kind of relax, you know, because you're not saying, okay, I gotta play. You're just saying, hey, I'm holding on to this thing while I watch TV or have a conversation or whatever it may be. And then you become more relaxed while holding it. Same idea with the pick. I should make a lesson on that. Let me know if that would be a helpful lesson to make, a little more succinctly than that little rambling answer. What are the first several tunes you recommend for beginners? Great question. So on my website, I teach a tune, Cindy, where I teach the chords and a couple of the words, and then also how to play the melody. It's a beautiful little melody. There's tunes like Boil 'em Cabbage Down. I think one of the best things you can do, just go to my website. You can, when you go to like over the lessons tab, on the right hand column of the drop down menu that says fiddle tunes, and you can sort them by difficulty level. And difficulty level is a little wiggly. So, you know, if you find a tune in the intermediate section that you really want to learn, but you feel like you're a beginner, by all means, kind of go for that intermediate tune and see what you can get out of it. Even if you don't end like picking session or a practice session with a whole new tune under your fingers, it's still very worthwhile to just give it a shot. I rarely pick up a mandolin to practice and learn an entire new tune. But, you know, just go through and listen. I say listen to a lot of music. You know, listen to all those play-along tracks that I have on my website and my Bandcamp page. And listen. Whichever one kind of perks up your ears, try that one. Battle of Ogrim. It is not in my repertoire. I'll have to look that one up. The Luridon would be a good one for the bowl back. Ooh, yeah, I like that. I'll have to play around with that. It's a great tune. Is that on my website? Don't know, but it's a good one. I use a Dunlop Tortex 1.14 triangle shape. Yep, I used those for a couple of years as well. Bought a 72 pack. Yeah, that's what I do with... I use these nylon picks for guitar and other instruments. And I buy those by the 72 pack. Especially, I used to use like the Dunlop, the Tortex Dunlop ones, and playing just like my style on tenor guitar. I'd play pretty heavy-handedly and a lot of just like this, and I would play 3-hour-long contra dances, and I could burn through one pick in a dance, like over the course of 3 hours, and just like make it unusable. So I would buy those by the truckload. But these Dunlops hold up a little better for me. Let's see. Oh, it is St. Anne's Reel. Great, excellent. Ooh, Pibrock. Now we're talking, yeah. Any thoughts on when to move on to a new tune? Oh, any thoughts on when to move on to a new tune? Just learn Turkey in the Straw, tend to play it to death for a while, but then get interested by something else before I master improvising. Definitely follow your interest versus feeling like you need to totally master a tune, because the next tune that you learn is going to help you play Turkey in the Straw. It's interesting. That's actually the tune, one of the first tunes I learned as well, just because it was a melody that was kind of already in my head, and I would just... I played that tune like exclusively for like 3 months, every day, multiple times a day, every time I picked up the instrument. And I'm sure everybody around me got sick of it, but I think it's a great tune to work on because it's often already familiar to your ears. But yeah, you know, once you've played a tune for a while, your focus is going to shift and you're going to want to try something new. And by all means, do that. Follow your interest over pretty much everything else. I'm summoning fair maidens, apparently. All right. The mandolin... the mandolin comparison. Yeah, it's fun. And then, yeah, I also have one. Thank you for reminding me of that, David. I do one where I kind of do some comparison between picks as well. It's all very, you know, like personal preference. There's no right answer with anything. But maybe those videos can help you pick a little bit of sound that you're after. Oh yeah, Stuart Davey makes awesome mandolins. I've never played one, but I've heard great things and I've seen a lot of them. They're beautiful. Yeah, I got to get some poofy shoulder shirts to play that bowl back. Thank you so much, Ryan, for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Glad you're enjoying the website and the lessons, and great to have you here, and thanks for the support. And thanks to everyone who supports me on these chats or any other time. There's a bunch of links in the description. You can do these super chats. There's PayPal link, Venmo link. There's a bunch of people who support me on Patreon who are always in the chat, and it's great to see you all here. So thank you. However you support me, it's not required, but greatly appreciated. So thank you. And also, Andy just did the old super chat. Chordal Jig is on the site. Excellent. Oh yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, I just played Chordal Jig when I was thinking about the Luridon or Junior Crayons. How does that go? How does that go? No? Wow, I can't pull up the Laradon right now. What does it look like when I say I burned through a pick? It means the tip is mostly gone. I don't have any anymore because I switched picks, and I just gave away all the ones that I used to use. But the tip of the pick just actually becomes flattened out. So these are pretty strong, and these nylon ones, these gray ones, are also very sturdy. But if you play with a pick enough, you'll wear down that tip. And just like the combination of my technique on tenor guitar and the amount that I was playing, I was in a 2-person band playing a 4-string guitar and trying to make as much sound and energy for a 100 or so dancers. And so I was always trying to make a lot of sound and play real hard and energetically, and I would just like wear the tips of the picks down. Ooh, somebody's talking about ice cream. I love ice cream. All right, let me catch up with the chat here. Do you think that learning from tab is generally bad for you? Isn't it a big crutch and you won't progress? Yes and no. You know, I learned from tab almost exclusively when I started, and it did become a crutch for me where I felt like I needed the tab, and I like my ability to learn by ear definitely suffered for all of the tab because I just never worked on like learning by ear. I just like figured out how to read tablature and was like, all right, I'm gonna do that, and I would just like read a tune, be like, oh, that's cool. Read another tune. I got pretty quick at it, and to this day, you know, whatever it is, over like 22 years later, tablature is still like the most easy thing for me to read. I wish it was standard notation, but I just haven't put in as much time. I can read standard notation okay, not great, mediocre, I would say. But tablature is still like, brings me back to the old days of just reading a million tab. But you know, at the same time, it tells you, you know, like where frets are, like what sound comes out of what fret on what string. It makes it, once you learn how to read it, you can just say like, oh, 2 4 5 0 2 0 5 4 2 4 5 0 2 4 5 4 5 4 5 2 0 2 0 5 4 2 0, whatever it is, and you get a melody. It's very kind of like push a button, get a melody, but it can be hard to kind of separate yourself from the tab and get to the point where you can just play a tune without looking at it, or it makes it so you're not practicing learning by ear as much. But you know, I think it's helpful just to like get a tune under your fingers and have something musical and fun to play. But then it's also important to make sure you can do it without the tablature, because if you ever forget your big book of tablature and don't know how to start tunes without it or learn by ear, then you can't play any music. So getting things that you can summon tunes up without external resources is a helpful thing. Ooh, I'm catching up with the chat, but I'm getting them out of order. Oh yes, mead is the tipple of the serious mandolinist. I do love a little mead. Do you find that an armrest makes a difference? I ordered one for my new mandolin, mostly because I noticed you used one, and after reading comments in the Mandolin Cafe about it. So yes, Gina's talking about this armrest that I have on the mandolin. I got in the habit. I like them. I don't think they're not. I have mandolins that don't have them, but most of them do. You know, this is just straight, no armrest. I think I found it useful. The first one of my mandolins I had early on had really sharp sides, so it would actually just kind of it would like kind of wear into my arm a little bit. It wouldn't like cut me, but it had very kind of sharpened binding, and it was a little uncomfortable. So that's why I got an armrest. And I do like that it kind of sets up my arm in a nice little spot. I'm really used to it now. It's not a necessity by any means, but a lot of people find them helpful and a little more comfortable. I don't know where the ice cream comment came from, but I also want ice cream. Tone guard on the Phoenix, considering getting an armrest. Is there any problem having both? Nope, I have them both. No, there's no like interaction because the tone guard, there's like 3 points of contact with the tone guard. One here on the bass side. This is also, or on the treble side, sorry. This one's also on the treble side. A little, let me zoom in. That one's also on the treble side, but then the armrest is on the bass side, so it doesn't interact really. I've gone back and forth with tone guards. I'm kind of back on a tone guard kick. Another accessory that a lot of people like, but it's not a necessity by any means. Awesome. That's how Chris is with Swallowtail Jig. Pick it up every time you play an instrument, or every time you pick up your instrument, you play a Swallowtail Jig. That's great to have, you know. I think, I don't know what that is for me right now, but it's very common to just have something that like comes out of your fingers when you pick up an instrument. That's a great thing to have. Have I been working on any new tunes lately? I have. I've been working, honestly, the thing I'm currently like totally obsessed with and not doing anything else with my life is playing pedal steel. I'm back on this instrument over here, the pedal steel. I've had it for a couple of years, but I just didn't play for a really long time, and I'm getting serious about it again, so I've been putting a lot of focus in on that. But that's not really tunes. I've been trying to play some cool like Swedish tunes on it. Things like that, kind of like not super fast tunes, nice and slow and swoopy. If you want to see me really struggle on an instrument, you can find my Instagram page and follow me and hear me play some really slow, out of tune pedal steel. I've been working on, even just like playing a scale, like I've been working on a C scale, and I'm going about this fast. Oops. There's lots of, oh, that's not right. Well, I'm way out of time now. Like, that's what it sounds like for me practicing pedal steel, but I'm super into that right now. I'm also working on an album project that I won't entirely disclose at the moment, but it involves learning a lot of tunes. One of my favorite albums has a lot of tunes on it, and I want to learn all the tunes off of this album and then make kind of my tribute album to this musician and this album. I won't say more until it's ready for prime time, but I'm about halfway through learning all the tunes, and that is about 20 tunes that I know so far, and there's like over 40 on this album. So we'll give you a little sneak peek at that when the right time comes. But the pedal steel kind of took over. I was learning tunes, I was trying to learn like a tune a day, and then the pedal steel took over. And like I was saying earlier with like, you know, following your interest, I was really into learning all these tunes, and then the pedal steel like really took my interest, and I think it's important to like follow what you're interested in versus what you feel like you should be doing. I felt a little bad at first. I was like halfway through this tune project. I was like, oh, I should keep doing that and really get that out the door. But then I was like, I play music for fun. I want to like do what I want to do, and if that means getting halfway through a project and then getting sidetracked by a different instrument, so be it. I'll get back to that project soon enough, but right now I'm just totally obsessed with the pedal steel. Great question though, Denise. What is everybody working on? Let me know in the chat what tune you're working on right now. What's the most difficult tune you've ever played? Or is it just the latest one? I don't tend to learn really complicated tunes. I learn a lot of Irish tunes and old-time tunes and Quebecois tunes, and once you like kind of get used to the style, unless there's something particularly out of the ordinary and tricky about it, it's not generally a tricky tune. I would say the trickiest tune I've ever tried to learn to play is probably like Brilliancy, the Sam Bush arrangement. It has this B part. that's kind of fireworksy and all over the place. That's probably up there on the kind of complexity of the tunes. Also, some of the tunes that Noah Fishman, another mandolin player and bass player who's been on the channel, and we've made an album. Some of the tunes that he writes that I learn for our project, I find very difficult. They're really beautiful, but I love that Noah really kind of stretches my ability to learn tunes outside of my comfort zone. Pinky strength exercises. I might have missed that one. My biggest advice on kind of building up pinky strength is working on closed position scales. Because once you kind of leave that open, you can get away with not using your pinky when you're just playing in like regular open position. But as soon as you get rid of those open strings, you gotta start using your pinky. And jazzmando.com, go there and then look up the FFCP. There's also some lessons on my website about FFCP, but it stands for 4-finger closed position scales, and they make you use your pinky a lot. I like the pick to be a little warm, seems to slide on the strings easier. Definitely, I find that there's a little bit of break-in on a pick. I don't have quite the same. I like to find a pick that kind of feels broken in to begin with, but it definitely, through a little bit of playing, it definitely does smooth out a little bit and kind of hit a sweet spot. Do you currently own a mandola, disregarding the 10-string? I do. I had a mandola for a while. I had a Collings mandola that I just never quite got used to. And then I didn't have a mandola for a long time. Then I got this 10-string. But then it's currently getting set up. I just got an old Gibson mandola, an H1 from 1916. But it needed a lot of work once I got it. So it's currently in the shop for a whole bunch of work. It needs a refret and a fingerboard planing and a setup and all this kind of stuff. So it's had a hard life, but it meant I could afford it, which was nice. And so that'll come back and make an appearance at some point. I really like, because I play so many fiddle tunes, you can play a lot of fiddle tunes on a mandola just by going down, kind of down the octave, because a lot of fiddle tunes, the lowest note is D, and you don't have the E string to go high up. Like if you want to play a B on an E string, on a mandola, if you want to hit that note on a mandola, you need to go, my highest string is an A string, and then you got an E, and then you got to go 7th fret above the E, so you're way up the neck really quick trying to play in the same octave as the mandolin. But on the mandola, you have that low string, so you can play tunes down the octave. So what would normally sound like, I'm going to pretend I don't have a low string, high string here. You have to do a lot of that kind of shifting, but you can play it down. And get that low, growly mandola sound that I love. But I really like the ability to have 5 sets of strings. It's a little uncommon. There are not a lot of them out there, but it is kind of like a super mandolin in a way, that you've got the mandolin, and if the instrument is built correctly, you also have a great mandola sound. It's a little like having your cake and eating it too. Any lessons for more modern tunes? For example, Hanukkah Castle, who is great. I love Hanukkah's music. I don't tend to do that just because of... and hello from Maine, my old stomping ground. Can't wait to get back to Maine. I probably won't, just because it's other people's tunes. The only tune that I've done that is a modern tune is Mississippi Palisades, which was written by Chirp Smith, and it ended up on my old time solo mandolin album, and he gave me direct permission to like make a lesson on it. So it's a little complicated to do other people's tunes, but it could be fun, or it would be fun to just like get some guests in and have them teach their own tunes. That would be fun too, even if they're not mandolin play. Like get Hanukkah to teach one of her tunes by ear same way I do. It's not a mandolin, but you all could do that. Let me know if that sounds like something you'd be into, to get like guest musicians in teaching tunes, either playing mandolin or like learning a tune from a fiddle player. That could be fun. Let me know in the chat if you like that idea or if that terrifies you. Might do it anyway. If it terrifies you, it's probably good for you. Oh, ice cream came from the Turkey in the Straw song. Yeah, now it's all coming together. Anything classical, maybe some Bach. I don't really I learned the prelude to the first cello suite. Etc. at one point, but that's about all I can remember of it. I played a lot of early music, like kind of 3-part music that doesn't sound like much as a single part. You know, music from like the 1500s. I did a lot of that in college that I really enjoyed, but I don't have any of it left in me anymore. But it'd be fun to get some of that back. Any tips on increasing speed? Definitely. This is from Craig. Thanks so much for joining in. Where did I just jumped? Okay, increasing speed. I think, you know, going slow, make sure you have all the fundamentals so you can't kind of fake it. You know, if you go like... That's clearly Turkey in the Straw, but if you slow that down and you're going... If you try to slow something down and you're stumbling by trying to play it too slow, that means you need to work on it more, so... Get it nice and silky smooth. Make sure you're nice and relaxed. Make sure your pick direction is really dialed in. And then, once everything is there, then start slowly speeding it up. And, you know, doing that. And then also, occasionally, just try to play as fast as you can. It's not great kind of technique-wise to do that, but it really will give you a little bit of kind of muscle information of like, this is what it feels like when I play fast. And if you do it without intending to, you know, like get great music out of it, you can just like, even if you just go like that as fast as you can, don't do it for the music. Do it just to like feel what muscles tense up. Like when I do that too fast, I can feel it right here. I gotta like everything in the kind of the back of my arm really tenses up. But mostly it's a very slow process of increasing speed. It's not the most fun exercise, but it's great because it translates to everything you do. Once you learn to play one tune a little faster through this really slow, kind of painstaking method, it'll help your speed on everything you do. So it's highly recommended to work on that stuff nice and slow. Same sort of thing like I'm working on pedal steel. It's not the most fun, but building all these really fundamental techniques. And that's honestly like where I kind of plateaued on pedal steel because I didn't focus on technique at all. I found a couple things that I like the sound of and sounded okay and was kind of fun and new. But then I just hit this wall where I was like, I can't do anything else unless I have really solid building blocks of techniques under my fingers. So I got bored of just doing the same thing because I had hit this wall that I couldn't cross without real technique. And now I'm going back and really slowly trying to build up scales and proper right and left hand technique and stuff like that. Bold Doherty, I do not know that tune, but it sounds familiar. East Tennessee Blues is a hard one to get down fast. Totally. That's a notey tune, but a fun one. Uncle Bobby says embellishing, Angeline the Baker, Soldier's Joy, June Apple. That's what you're working. Oh, this is what people are working on. Great. I lost the delay in the chat sometimes confuses me, but yeah, throw in the chat what you're working on. That's great. Just got a book of 25 Disney songs for mandolin. The jump from melody to melody with harmony is difficult but worth it. That sounds like a great project. Blackberry Blossoms caught my ear, but I'm playing it as slow as you are on pedal steel. Yeah, I mean, that's good. That's like honestly how I often jump into a new instrument because I've played mandolin for 20 something years. When I pick up a new instrument, I go for something that's like above my skill level on it. Sometimes maybe to my detriment, but you know, something that's above my skill level, but I know I can play really slow and it'll build up a lot of those fundamentals like I was talking about. As long as you're playing slow and clean and relaxed, you're on the right track. Whiskey Before Breakfast, Sugarfoot Rag, Summertime, Swallowtail Jig, trying to get the strum patterns. Oh, Undone in Sorrow from Lewis. One of the best songs of all time. That song gives me the chills every time. Yeah, look up Ola Belle Reed if you want to hear the best song ever. It's called Undone in Sorrow. Also, Riley Bogus does a great version of that. Cripple Creek, East Tennessee Blues, that's a great one. Billy in the Low Ground really trips you up, even though you feel like you're kind of in the intermediate camp. That's kind of an advanced tune. Yeah, and that's another problem. James says something that's hard is it sounds like a couple other tunes. That happens to me with that tune. There's a bunch of Irish tunes that I find so similar that I can't remember how any of them go, and I always get them mixed up. But that's all right. Liberty, Gypsy Jazz. Oh, need some Gypsy Jazz tunes to play. I bet there's some resources out there. I would ask that over at Mandolin Cafe. Get some. I'm sure there's like Gypsy Jazz fake books that you could get under your fingers on a mandolin. Yep, Billy in the Low Ground, a little bit like Whiskey Before Breakfast, totally. Teetotaler mixed up with Billy in the Low Ground, totally. When would you add triplets in Boys of Blue Hill, and how do you figure out where to put them in? So Boys of Blue Hill, how does this tune go? I'll go to the close-up shot while I make a blank staring face and try to remember this tune. Boys of Blue Hill. The B part. This is the tune straight. I would put triplets like this. That's a great idea for a simple to complex lesson. There's some good triplet opportunities. So the first one I did there was so a little bit different of a triplet. With a slower tune, you know, often I teach the like that kind of more percussive triplet, but with a slow hornpipe like Boys of Blue Hill, you've got a little more space. So that's a little triplet, and that's open D string, hammer onto the 4th fret, open A string. And you can do another one here. There's a couple ideas anyway. That's a fun one. Cool. Yeah, Dan says he wants to get that cello prelude down. That's a good one. There's tabs for it out there too. Oh, Oh, nice. And William's working on Minuet in G. Another beautiful. Anything Bach does is can't go wrong. But yeah, you can find tablature out there and sheet music for the cello prelude transposed up for mandolin and violin. When you hit a note with the pinky, like the beginning of Blackberry Blossom, do you keep fingers 1, 2, and 3 down? How does this tune go? Yeah. I think either way, you know, with like keeping fingers down, you at least want them to be close. You don't want to be going... you know, jumping around like that. You can leave them down. Or you can, you know, like right there, I've got the 5th fret, but these 2 fingers are off, but they're close by. As long as you don't have like kind of flying fingers, as it's often referred to, you're in good shape. All right, I'm going to do a little lightning round here on the last of these questions, and then we're going to play a little bit of whatever that tune is. Road to Lisdoonvarna. The slide will play it, pass it back and forth, play chords and melody for each other, and have a good time. All right, let's see. William says, anybody use the widget rubber picks? I have not. Cool. Oh, nice. Yeah, kind of a practice pick. Whiskey in the Jar, that's a great one. It's one of the early songs that I learned how to play. Would you mind revisiting your tuning on the mandolin? Can I tune it can I tune it the same as your mandolin? Oh, as your mandola. So the mandolin is G, D, A, E, and a mandola has a low C below this G, so it's C that doesn't exist, and then G, D, A, and then the E string is not there on a mandola. That's mandola, and is mandolin. You can't generally tune a mandolin all the way down to a mandola. It requires this special instrument. Yeah, Ode to Joy totally counts as classical, Lewis. Pop classical. But no, that's totally classical. All right. So let's play a little bit of Road to Lisdoonvarna here. I'll get down on the close-up video. The way these work is we play the tune back and forth just like we're jamming in real time, because that is what we're doing. If you don't know the tune, this is a good way to just try to pick up a couple notes by ear. It's good ear exercise. If you do know the tune, it's a great way to play through it a bunch of times and really get it solidified under your fingers and into your muscle memory. And if you have been playing Road to Lisdoonvarna forever, it's a great time to work on some special stuff with it. You can add some ornamentation or some melodic variation, things like that. Just challenge yourself wherever you're at with this tune. It's in E minor, E Dorian, for those that saw my latest video on key signatures. So it's the notes of D, but starting and ending on E. A very common key in Irish music. Not too fast, and if you need to either speed it up or slow it down after, you can always use once the video renders out and you can watch back at any time, you can slow it up or speed it down using the little gear icon in the bottom right hand corner. And here we go. Boom, maybe about there. I'll start with the melody, you play the chords. It's just E minor and D all the way through, then we'll swap back and forth. 1, 2, here we go. B part. Take it. A2. B. I'm throwing in an A major there too. So it's D, A, E minor. A. Your turn. A2. B. Take it one last time. A2. B. I'll go out with you. There's a little bit of Road to Lisdoon Varna. Definitely see if you can get that jig picking rhythm down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up into your hand. It'll really put a lot of nice groove into the tune. Let's pick a tune for next week. Let's try an old time tune for next week. I'll look things up, but also feel free to throw them in the chat. And I will do my best to figure something out here with what's a old time tune we haven't done yet. I just let's see. Could do a Devil's Dream. Haven't done that one yet. That's fun. Or folding down the sheets. Let's do whatever that first one I said was. Whatever it was. Can't remember. Devil's Dream. Let's do that. It'll be fun. A classic kind of old time ripping funny tune. Fun one in the key of A with some B minors. Devil's Dream it is for next week. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Great to hang out with you as always. Thanks so much to the Super Chats and the PayPal donations and however it's coming in. Greatly appreciated. Not required by any means, but it really helps me do these every week and put out new lessons. Thank you all so much. And, Farewell Tryon. in a couple weeks, let's do Farewell Tryon. That's a great tune. And have a good time with it. So, have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks so much for tuning in. See you all again soon. Keep picking. Bye-bye.